welcome to the Accidental Wrestling Fan. Notice the bags under my eyes. I have not slept all fucking week. This has been a very long week, and I have a bloodstream full of the Moderna vaccine. I almost said virus, which I'm sure people probably think it's that, but I thought I was gonna feel like one of the. I thought I was gonna feel like one of the road warriors after I took it, but really all I have is a sore arm. But that's the first one I got to take, and then I do another one on March 11th. So, hopefully, one step closer to being able to go and do shit again.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine's February 16th and March 16th, so I'm ready for that.
Does it have to be a month apart?
Moderna does.
Okay.
Pfizer's 3 weeks. And the new Johnson & Johnson one is, if it gets approved, is only 1 dose.
Yeah.
Oh man! Shout outs to Johnson & Johnson. Welcome to the accidental fucking
Epidemiologist,
Pharmaceutical fan.
real heavy on the drug talk today. So we'll do our introductions like we've been doing the last few weeks. Shawn, how are you?
Great. How about yourself, sir?
Just like I said, sore arm, very, very tired. Haven't really been sleeping that great because I've been obsessing over a blog that I had to write at work. And believe it or not, writing a blog / press release is a lot of work to write 400 pages because, you have to do research and all that.
Wait, 400 fucking pages on a blog?
400 words. Sorry.
400 words. I was saying, wait.
See, I'm tired.
Book, man.
It's a dissertation.
No, dude. I mean, it's a lot of work because you have to do all this research, and it's the release of this important, like, game-changing thing in the nonprofit world, and you have to talk to people, and people take forever to get back to you and give you the information. So it's like it's funny. I never thought I was going to be in like the movie game or television. And I know it's a lot of hurry up and wait. But somehow this is kind of like that. It's a lot of, I need to give people this, and then I have to wait 7 hours for them to get back to me. And then they'll be like, can I get this by the end of today? And it's 4:30, like that type of shit. So it's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Go work for Vince, homie. You can just, deal with that.
When I was younger and full of other illicit substances, I could probably work for Vince McMahon. But not anymore, dude. I fall asleep on the couch almost every night. Like we're watching Netflix or playing a video game. I'll drift to sleep. Paige will have full-on conversations with me in bed at like 10 o'clock, and I will pass right out.
He'll give you some of the devil's dandruff, though. Help you out.
Dude, I'm a fat piece of shit now. That would probably make my heart implode. No.
At least now you can pass the wellness test.
What'd you say?
You can pass a wellness test now then, at least.
Yeah, I would easily pass a wellness test. Like, it's gotten to that point where I've replaced all the fun stuff that I used to put in my body with, like, Pop-Tarts.
Tums.
Snacks. Yeah.
That's fun stuff in my book.
Hey, listen, real quick before we actually talk about wrestling and do the rest of the introductions, I saw in a package of Pop-Tarts because I love frosted strawberry Pop-Tarts.
That's OG flavor.
What'd you say?
OG flavor right there.
I mean, yeah. Paige, she loves brown sugar cinnamon, and I've given it a try because I used to not like it when I was younger. It's okay. I don't mind it.
I only want the fruit Pop-Tarts.
I froze, or I shouldn't say froze it, but I put it in the freezer for about an hour. Frosted strawberry Pop-Tart. Tremendous choice. I recommend it. Highly recommend it.
I haven't eaten a warm Pop-Tart in years.
It's weird. I can't tell you the last time.
Yeah, no one has time for that.
Yeah, especially like at this stage in our lives, man. It's like always get up and go. Like I don't have time to just like try to heat up a breakfast, all that stuff. I mean, in the last, I would say probably like 10 months or so, I've had more time to obviously cook breakfast because you're always home. But I was working at a CVS for a couple of months last year, and I did have a lot of like just dumping protein powder into a shaker and just shaking it while I drive 2 miles to the CVS. Like, being an adult sucks. Like you just lose track of time. Like you're constantly trapped in your own thoughts. You're anxious about everything, and then you just magically get fatter. Like,
One day you look around, you're like, how the hell did this happen?
I've always been fat, sir. So it's just actually since high school. Yeah, my freshman year of college, I put on 45 pounds. So
Holy crap, man.
yeah, I went from 155 when I graduated to 200 pounds my freshman year of college.
Wow.
Like not
You got
swimming,
the freshman
not
45.
not swimming, not doing anything,
Oh,
just
yeah.
eating Taco Bell at Wayne State, like 3 meals a day. Yeah, no, that was before Taco Bell had breakfast, like 11 o'clock. All right, cheesy gordita crunch. 3 p.m. All right, nachos Bel Grande. 7 p.m. All right, give me that crunch wrap.
It's a good segue into one of our topics tonight.
Sound like Yoko, brother.
I was gonna say, do we
Damn.
have anyone in this chat underneath the 205 weight limit right now?
Oh, I am.
Luckily, still.
No, I do 6 hours of cardio a week and I still have C cups.
I'm like 175.
Way to go,
damn,
Kaz.
dude. Nice.
Damn, Kaz, you're about to fight Usman this weekend.
Fucking Kaz in the cruiserweight division.
Fucking hell, these little skinny, scrawny fuck.
It's the liquor, brother. Get off that
All
liquor.
Yeah.
I was boozing fucking a fifth and a half a day for a decade.
That's
Oh,
right,
man.
because I helped you with some of that before.
Yes, you did.
I remember when I was living in California, I was on almost a fifth of gin a day while I was living there. And it was like 5 o'clock gin because I didn't have a lot of money. So I was just like, all right, I can do like $25 a week on gin.
Man, you'll be surprised, man. That shit packs the pounds on, especially if you're chasing it with like a sugary fucking,
Oh, yeah.
pop or Gatorade and shit. It's
Rock and rye.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I try to do like vodka tonics, vodka water,
Yeah,
vodka,
right.
and and soda, but nothing beats the ice cold beer or fucking
Oh,
Jack
I
and
know,
Coke or
man.
anything like that, man. Those
No.
things are just like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
But someone who struggled very mightily with their weight and their physique, and that is the late great Yokozuna, Rodney Anawahi. Is that how you say their last name?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think you hit that pretty well.
Thank you. Yokozuna, I would say, is someone who's considered one of the best big men of all time. Obviously, the weight gain happened pretty quickly. He was always a very heavy set guy, but when you see him at the beginning of his WWF run, and then 5 years towards the end, because he wasn't in WWF for that long, which is kind of crazy to think. It felt like decades
Forever.
when we were
Yeah,
kids.
man.
But how big did they say he got in the documentary? Well, we were talking about WWE Icons.
700 pounds, I think they said he was at when he died, like somewhere around there. Like your body just can't like physically handle that amount of weight and fat. And
He was happy though.
oh, hey, drink.
They brought that up so much in the documentary. Oh, he was so happy. He was so happy to be there. He wasn't upset that he lost the belt to Hulk Hogan in 2.5 minutes or whatever it was. He was always so happy, and part of me was just like, that was probably an armchair psychologist. That was probably a front. Like,
Yeah, right.
I can't imagine too many people that have struggles with their weight like that would always be positive all the time, and especially in a business like wrestling where you're constantly in pain. And he's a big guy. Like I can't imagine that he was always happy. It's kind of like the Andre the Giant documentary, HBO. Everyone's like, oh yeah, Andre loved the party, and Carrie always is like, he partied because he was in pain. And I think that might be kind of a similar route that Yokozuna went down.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if you haven't had a chance to check out the documentary, I highly recommend it. The documentary is very well done for the Icon series. Taking care, took care of his family first all the time. I mean, Rikishi just in tears talking about how Yokozuna was like, here's a blank check whatever it takes to get heat in your house or central air in your house doesn't matter. And so he made sure he took care of his family first and never really spent a lot of his money on like big things. I guess, I mean, when you're a bigger dude, it's not like you can go out and buy a Lamborghini. Though I can barely fit in a Lamborghini and I'm 250 pounds. So like, I mean, just like the way he lived his life, yes, it was tragic that he just continued to eat his way into his death. But that, he made sure while he was doing everything that he just wanted to take care of everything. They talked about how great of a dad he was, like, and how it hurt him to be on the road for so long. And like when he came home, he didn't answer any calls from Vince or anybody else. He's like, no, this is my kids' time. This is my time with my kids. So, all in all, it seems like he's a pretty grounded dude who just wanted to do what's best for his family.
Yeah, and you got the sense that a lot of the other wrestlers really liked being around him. He was really well respected, from what I could tell, and even in the 20 years since he's died, I've never really heard anyone say anything negative about him other than his struggles with his weight, that he let himself get too heavy. But I've always heard that he was a really nice guy, a very loyal friend, great dad, those sorts of things, which of course always makes someone who died that young really tragic. I mean, he was 34, 33, something like that. He was a really young guy, so in the documentary, they definitely paint the picture that, he was a good dude, but this was just a real serious demon that he had to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, Lino said, I don't know if you're there, Damon, that he was like, hey, it's kind of like an original episode of TAWF where you guys are telling me all about the documentary, like how you guys would tell me, fill me in on all the 2000s wrestling, because I don't have the network anymore, so I didn't get to see it. The only things I was able to catch was on YouTube. So it's nice to hear what you guys have to say about this. And just your reactions on it and telling me what's going on, because, I have my memories of him when I was young, and, I remember hearing about his passing and whatnot. And hearing how he was always well liked, and I was really interested to see how this documentary would go, and how this is supposed to be in a series of documentaries that they started with this one. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that it sounds like it went well.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I say no, it's a really good documentary, and it's the first in the Icon series, and the way that they did it, the way that it was kind of stylized, I am definitely looking forward to more in the series. I have always found that WWE and the WWE Network, the thing that they excel the most at is probably the documentaries, like that kind of original content. I honestly shocked that they haven't won any sorts of awards or anything like that, because it's something that they really, really do a good job with.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I thought
that it was someone like Yoko, who they don't really, it's not like Bret Hart or Steve Austin, like somebody that they have a lot of content on that they're always talking about. This is somebody that they really haven't covered much, in the 20 years since he passed away. So I thought that was, it showed a side of Yoko that they've really never shown in recent memory. I mean, if at all,
Yeah. Kaz, you were gonna say something?
As far as his weight gain goes, like how you were saying, it was probably a front, like he was really, maybe depressed or not very happy. There's a part of me that thinks possibly he was happy, and maybe he just said, you know what, fuck it. I love eating. I love food. I know everyone's telling me, hey, I need to lose weight. I need to do this. I need to do that. But maybe at the end of the day, he was just like, you know what? This is what I love to do. I mean, the guy got to damn near 700 pounds. And, it was definitely the cause of his death, but maybe that's just the way he decided to live it. And he probably knew that was the way he was going to go out. I mean, you hear that with a lot of like drug addicts. There's a comedian. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Mitch Hedberg.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah, he was a big time heroin addict, and all of his, comedian buddies like Artie Lang and Joe Rogan and all those dudes would, he told those dudes like, listen, guys, I love heroin so much, I'm never going to quit. So don't try.
Oh wow.
I mean, that was ultimately, I don't know if he killed himself or he OD'd, but I mean, he told those guys, like, listen, I just love it that much. I'm not going to quit. Maybe that was a part of Yoko's mindset. I'm not saying it was. Maybe it was a front for, depression or whatever, but maybe the guy just liked to eat.
Yeah, no, I can definitely agree
I mean,
with that. I mean,
it's just another addiction like anything else, really.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, that's something I've managed to keep myself under 300, which is, an astonishment compared to the amount that I eat and like the things that I do eat. But
I'm not saying that it's healthy either.
It's not, but it's if you love food and you are like a person who enjoys trying different things or going out, eating is I agree with you, Kaz. He could have been perfectly happy with the way he ate. I mean, when they sent him to Duke, as they talked about in the documentary, like he found somebody to sneak him in fried chicken. Like the dude was like,
no way.
Yeah, fried chicken plug.
Yeah, they had him at Duke University Hospital. Like no one can get to him, like besides like doctors and like other and like people. He still found a way to get fried chicken in there.
Yeah.
Like WWE was like willing to pay for anything it took to keep Yoko alive as far as diet and weight loss goes. And even when he left the company, like they thought like them releasing him, but they still told him like when they released him, like we'll still pay for whatever you need to lose weight. Like I think this is one of those few times that Vince was like so attached to one of his wrestlers. And I think having Afa and Sika, it obviously being super loyal to him throughout their time frame definitely helped. But I think this is one of those times where like Vince was so upset, like did feel like he lost like one of his own kids, like when Yoko died.
Did they give a reason why he got let go by the WWF?
His weight.
His weight was it?
Yeah,
He couldn't pass what was it?
Athletic commission in New York wouldn't let him wrestle.
They kept giving him chance after chance to, get in shape. And he was one thing that I didn't realize was he was still under contract up until well into 97. And he had been off TV for a while by then, but they were just, they kept hoping that, it was going to come around. And then eventually they had to let him go with the intention of like, okay, well, hopefully we can bring him back one day.
It's crazy. Another thing I took from it, it's crazy how short his run really was.
A year as champion. Yeah. I mean, that's really like I guess like thinking back as a kid, like I just remember Yokozuna being like this force and like, but really it was only a year. He was, he lost the belt to Hogan after he beat Bret Hart, which was a botched ending because he ran out of gas against Bret Hart. And then, Hogan, and I guess this is, things I just never pay attention to younger or even bothered to learn. Like Hogan pinched that idea to Vince, like the day of that match. And they changed the ending so that way Hogan would get the belt one more time. And now I can see why, like, when Seth cashed in on Roman and Brock, Afa and Sika had the reaction that they did because they had already had it. They'd already seen it.
It made Hogan look real bad, I thought.
It did. But... Yeah, Hogan's an awful person, but
he got interviewed for the documentary and he just kind of like brushed it off and made it seem like it was no big deal that he did that. And he was like, hindsight's 50-50. Yeah.
I wanted to have a program with him. Yeah, right, dude. Okay. He knew he was leaving. Yeah. He wanted to main event Mania one more time.
Yeah, no, I mean, and then it's just, he got, after that, he eventually got the belt and, only had it for, a year, and then he never got it again. Then they started putting him in the tag matches with Owen Hart to hide his, lack of being able to carry a match longer than like 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's another thing they talked about. Like Owen and Yoko were like best friends. And, Owen tried to help him out and was like really wanting him to get back in shape and stuff and be like the force that he was. And Yoko, he just didn't want to do it. And, again, eventually it comes down to if you're happy eating and that's your way of taking out like any type of emotional pain or physical pain, or you're just happy doing it, you're gonna do it.
Like one of those last public appearances he had on when he was over there in London when he ultimately, you know, died. When he was on that like British talk show and he's like laying on that bed.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's just like
covering up the
full of
girl's head.
energy, and he's like, you know, to me, I mean, again, it could have been a front, but man, he was living life, loving life. It seemed at that moment. I think he died. What, days later? Was
I
it?
was gonna say
Yeah.
it was really close to the date that he passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty close. Yeah, he didn't. He didn't wake up. As Lino said, it's it really comes down to he had sleep apnea.
It was
Most
sad
of-
seeing the footage of him working like those indie shows.
Oh yeah, no, that's like a dude who a year prior was selling out arenas. Just even though he still couldn't wrestle that great, was still selling out arenas based on his name. And then he's in the indies, just 30 people in the arena. Like
I was gonna say there was that one in San Francisco where they showed the footage, and it's like the most like just ratchet footage. Like you could tell it was taken on like some old video camcorder from the 90s. But
Yeah.
Lino, we got mic
Lino,
problems.
you dropped out, Lino.
Is Lino
Oh no!
back?
Oh no!
Can he hear us?
I saw something flash up on his screen where it said his bandwidth was a little low, so
Well,
probably internet problems, I'm assuming.
Oh,
sorry about that.
Oh, there we
no,
go.
There we go.
there you go.
Finish the thought, because you were very into it, and I wanted to hear what it was.
I was just bringing up there was some footage of him, and I think it was an indie promotion in San Francisco, and there were like maybe 30 people there, if that. And it's just to see him, the way that he moved around in the ring, and just the lack of people in the crowd, and just the way that the announcers are trying to like prop it up, and it was just so cringeworthy when you think about like you said, where he was just before that.
It's always the sad thing, man. It's like the wrestler,
Yeah.
just seeing that, and you just feel awful.
Like a real life version of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if like he was in the 2000s, like when we finally had like weight loss surgery as like a thing that was becoming very medically acceptable. Like if he had made it later into the 2000s, would he be healthier now? Like could there have been a possibility for him to have gone on it, stuck to a diet, gotten like the surgery, and been able to wrestle more, and continue to lose weight and be healthy? Because like when he came into it, like all of the scouts were like, this is the guy. Like he was so athletic for a guy at 450 pounds and moved so fast that had he stayed 450 pounds, he probably would have done a lot more. He definitely would have lived longer, but had he stayed 450 pounds, he probably would have been multi-time champ. We'd probably be talking about him being like at least maybe like a 5-6 time champ, at that point.
Yeah, and if he would have, like you said, stayed a little bit lighter at that point, he was still a pretty young guy at that time. Him and Taker were, I think, the two youngest champions for a really long period of time. Him and Taker, I think, were both about 26 years old when they both won the heavyweight title.
Oh wow.
So yeah, they were pretty young in heavyweight champion criteria, because we talked about this on the show before.
Mhm.
A lot of times guys really don't get the belt when they're young. Like they usually will make a guy a champion when they're a little bit older. Yeah, if he would have been able to keep his weight in check, I do think he would have had more accolades, because it's kind of shocking. Like we said, we felt like he was a champion for so long and wrestled for so long, but he was only a 2-time tag team champion with Owen, and he was only a 2-time world heavyweight champion. And his first reign was very short. The second reign was 280 days. So yeah, definitely a lot more that could have been done for Yoko if he was able to keep his weight in check.
Yeah. So would you guys recommend the documentary then?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't
That was
wait for
one
the
of the
next
best
one.
ones I've seen.
Does anyone know what the next one is? I know they're doing them on Beth Phoenix, Lex Luger. I'm really excited for the Luger one. I think the
Yeah,
Luger one's
man.
going to be really good.
Yeah.
I
Does he
think Rob
finally
Van
admit he?
Dam.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Rob
man.
Van Dam.
That'd be great.
They're
Does
going to
Luger
have Katie
finally
Forbes on
admit
there.
admit he killed Miss Elizabeth?
Uh,
Oh boy.
I mean, they're gonna have to bring
I'm
that
sure
up,
that
right?
topic
I
will be
mean,
brought up.
it would have to be. You can't just. Well, I mean, it is WWE, but I was gonna say you can't really just skip over this really important time period in his life, which ultimately leads to him turning around. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll
Yeah.
bring it up, but they're not going to spend a lot of time on it.
No, yeah, I feel you. I think so too. It's not like it's Dark Side of the Ring, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'll probably talk about like Luger's football background because these are only probably going to be, I would say, less than 90 minutes. There's not a ton of time to tell the full like Lex Luger story because
Yeah.
you got like 30 years you got to cover like the first like 20 minutes because you got to talk about how he played football and they didn't get into wrestling until pretty late, like he was in his late
Mhm.
20s, and then you got to take it from like the WCW run and all that. Feel like they'll probably spend more time about him having that stroke and then becoming a was it like a wellness liaison for WWE? I don't know if
Yeah,
he still
right.
has that position anymore, but I know they brought him in to basically warn young guys about the dangers of steroids.
Yeah.
Because I've recently was sent by our good friend Pigpen a wrestling YouTube channel that has a lot of like local and like indie stuff, and there's a match that Luger had from 2004 or 5 where you could tell he was in really rough shape. His physique was not what it was even a couple years prior, and you could tell he was having some real serious back and hip problems. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, like if you sit in a computer chair for too long, or like your hip, like if this is his head, like this is like his back and his butt, like it does that
Yeah.
weird is it anterior tilt,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that pelvic tilt where his
Yep.
butt sticks way back. You could tell
Yeah.
he was in a lot of pain. He was doing someone called it the Andre the Giant rope lean.
Oh
You tell
yeah.
someone's really got some back problems and they lean against the ropes. He was
Yeah.
doing that.
Uh,
Yeah. So can't wait for that one. And I think there is Beth Phoenix. She's got one coming too. So pretty excited for that. But on to a happier topic. We wanted to discuss the best versions of certain wrestlers. And we bring this up because, although this is not a happy reason why we brought this up, is because people, myself included, people on the internet love Kurt Angle's run in TNA, where he has been dubbed now Perc Angle because he was eating, what was it, like 65? I don't think he was
yeah,
actually taking
dude.
perks, right? He was taking bikes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was a Vicodin issue too.
But
Yeah.
somewhere along the line, people started calling him Perc Angle, and like my brother has even joked that Perc Angle is the greatest wrestler of all time. And I know that seems oxymoronic. Like, how could someone who had a serious drug addiction be the best wrestler of all time? But if you go back and watch some of those matches, he might have a case because he was doing some of the wildest and craziest shit that I've seen really any big time, like I'm talking like big time in the sense of like was a WWF champion, like high level guy like Kurt was. Obviously
Yeah.
there's like Jeff Hardy and Sabu, but Kurt didn't have a reputation like those guys with his Olympic background and things like that. But you
Yeah.
see him doing the stage dive on Abyss. He's doing the moonsault off cages, 450 knee drops. He's doing all kinds of crazy shit, man. And it is somehow probably the best period of his career, in my opinion.
And he had his run in Japan during that time too, right?
Yeah, when he had a few matches, I can't remember what Wrestle Kingdom was. Maybe Wrestle Kingdom 2 or 3 against Nagata. They have a really fantastic match for the weird IWGP belt that he had that wasn't the real belt. Like it was like the
Yeah.
third version or something
Oh
like that.
yeah.
I
So
never
he-
knew he worked Wrestle Kingdom.
Dude, it was out of control from like 2005 to like 2000, like 9 or 10. It's like a 5-year period where he was just an absolute fucking machine.
Do you
Like,
think he had just the mindset of I'm gonna show Vince and all those dudes in WWE that I'm the best
Well,
I
in the world?
Well, he left on such weird terms, like with Vince, because like according to Vince, he like was telling him he had some issues that he had to deal with, and then all of a sudden, and he needed out of his contract, and then all of a sudden he was in TNA. So like, I think he just left WWE because he was just tired of the BS. Vince loved him. He was definitely getting pushed as a champion, but like his TNA run was like that much better.
There were like drug issues though, because he got drafted to ECW in 06 when they rebooted it, and him and Big Show were like the two big names that went over to ECW from WWE brands, and there was something about long story short, they were like, okay, you've got a problem like with drugs here. We need to drug test you, like you need to go to rehab, you need to get help, and he was just like, no, I'm fine. Yeah. And to kind of tie this into the previous topic, probably like literally the first like adult book not adult book, but like book in my life was his autobiography that he came out with after he won the championship in 01.
Oh, it's true.
Yep. And I remember he talked about this. He talked about how he didn't really drink because like his father was an alcoholic, and he was like, it's not something that it's not that I don't touch alcohol. I just really don't ever drink it because my father was a huge alcoholic, and that contributed to his death. So, it's kind of like, a few years later, he has this addiction to, to
painkillers,
the opiates, if you want to call, whatever it was. So, it's kind of, he had that addictive, mindset. It wasn't alcohol, but it was something else, with Yokozuna, like it was food. I'm not a psychologist, but it's always that that mental addiction to something that unfortunately with a lot of these guys just shows up in different ways.
And it's crazy, like Damon said, he's doing all this, and he's quite possibly the greatest wrestler in the world at that period of time.
Dude was unbelievable. Like, I know I've said it to you guys in the group chat and whatnot, but it like totally looks like a parallel universe Perc Angle. It just, he's something so different about him when you like compare him to his WWE run, and he's just like a whole different animal. I know just recently he came out in an interview saying too that he's kind of jealous that Bill Goldberg got the treatment that he wanted when he came back to WWE. And I thought like, Perc could still go, man. Like, I'm surprised they weren't like, you know what, get in there, Perc, go ahead.
Perc really should have gotten that treatment now that I think about it.
Yeah, Perc should have gotten that push. I think everybody would have been way happier with Perc getting it.
God, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He, at the end of his TNA run, because I thought he was going to retire a little bit after that. Let's see, what I got to go back in time here. I'm reading through his timeline. He left TNA in 2015. Was it? Yeah, 2016. Oh, wow. And he was still having some fantastic matches with Drew Galloway, Bobby Roode, Bobby Lashley. Like, he still had it. He still really was having that drive. But I think that's kind of when his body started to change, because he wasn't doing the perks and all that stuff anymore. And the injuries, the drug abuse, I think was starting to catch up with him. So he wasn't quite the same guy that he was, a couple years previously. And I wonder if that was part of the reason why he didn't get that push when he came back, where they kind of realized like maybe Perc can't go like he used to. And I will admit, as my own personal opinion, he did look like an old man. He was old, but in the sense like he really didn't physically look like the Perc Angle of old. Like the way he moved, he was a little bit more stiff. He wasn't as fluid with his movements and things like that. And obviously that's due to age and injuries and all that. But I don't know if necessarily you could push him like you could with Goldberg, because Goldberg, his body, I don't think is as beat up as Perc Angle's.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Goldberg did it right, man.
He also doesn't
get in, get out.
Short, exactly. Short matches. You're not taking too big of bumps, and then you're done. That's why he can still go.
He also doesn't have that Karen Jarrett alimony check he's got to pay every so often.
I'm sure that's part of the reason why Kurt was such a machine too in that time period. Dude.
Yeah, right.
Like you said, John, the look in his eyes was different. Like that shit, everything was fucking different,
Yeah,
man. Like his whole body, like he had that weird 1,000-yard stare.
He
Yeah,
physically looked different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
I think it was because of the drugs. I think he started drinking too at that time period.
Yeah, he was
But
boozing.
dude, like it makes no sense. It's kind of like Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails made his best music when he was heavy into drugs. It's like Kurt Angle made his best did his best wrestling, his best performances when he was heavy into drugs. I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
right.
Like he was just a completely different animal when he was on drugs. It was insane.
I
Yeah.
hate to say it, but like that second run in WWE, 1 year or 2 years or whatever it was, that's like really disappointing. We didn't get like any classic matches, We got like
No, not really.
him in the Shield, him in a tag match, and him putting over Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of
right.
random matches on Raw. McIntyre made him tap with his own move, the ankle lock.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's what I was like, oh man, because in my head I'm like, they had an awesome match for the Impact Heavyweight title about 5-6 years ago, and I was thinking, oh, we're gonna get something similar to that. That match was fantastic. It's gonna be the same, but he looked like he couldn't really keep up with Drew, and maybe that was part of how they wanted to make it look, but it seemed in some ways kind of hard to watch. I think I talked with Kaz like on text or Twitter when that match happened. I'm like, damn, they're making Kurt look washed as fuck, man. This is terrible.
Yeah. Probably the best match in that second run was that Mania match, tag match with him, Rousey versus Triple H and
Yeah, right.
Steph.
Yeah.
That might have been the best match of that Mania.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. Gosh,
But
I can't remember.
like Damon said, I mean, you could tell he was getting older. His body just couldn't live up to the Kurt Angle of old anymore, really. He can barely move his fucking neck. I mean,
Yeah,
he
right.
looks so stiff. It just, I mean, if he's happy with the way he went out, I mean, that's good for him. But as a fan, yeah, it was very disappointing.
Well, I know I saw a couple clips of him, or not clips, but a picture on his social media, man, his Facebook, a couple months ago, where it looked like he was getting back into shape. Like he had the itch again, but I don't know if it was for something else. Maybe because he just wanted to train hard because he has that mindset. Because this is a guy who's been wrestling or competing at some level since, as when he was born, 1968. So since the early 70s, probably. There's a guy who's been wrestling at a high level, or competing at a high level since the 70s, probably. So this is a dude that probably like has to do something physically or he'll go insane. But he looked like he was in good shape, man.
I mean, he definitely deserves a proper send off. If he thinks he can go one more match. I mean, the Baron Corbin thing was
Yeah,
I
right.
think that was supposed to be I think Jason Jordan was supposed to beat him, but Jordan hurt his neck, and then they already had the feud with Corbin. I think they just said, well, that's the only guy that we could do it with, because I believe in an interview he said he wanted to do the send off against John Cena, and then which I'm sure Cena and him, they would have had a fantastic match because they know each other so well. That was just like a lot of guys will say it's like riding a bike. They know exactly where the other one's going to be, and they could safely have a fantastic match where Kurt won't be compromised. Kurt won't look like he can't keep up, that sort of thing. But they just decided that they had to go with Corbin.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that too, Damon, that him saying like he was kind of disappointed that was the way it ended. That he would have rather went with Cena.
Yeah. I wish they would have went with Cena too.
Cena didn't even do anything at that Mania, did he? I don't think he was there.
I thought he had a run. Did he run out?
I was gonna say I don't even remember, man.
I was pretty lit at that point.
Was that the one was that the one after he was got beat by the Undertaker?
Yeah.
Wasn't that
squashed? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nikki Bella? Didn't he tag with her or something?
No, that was the year before.
Oh, okay.
Well, 2 years before that one. Yeah, I think that was the one that he took off.
Let's see, WrestleMania 35. Now I got to go to the Wikipedia page. Yeah, dude,
Check
because
it out.
I I am so old now. I can't remember stuff like that anymore.
Especially
Oh,
that
dude,
one. I
I-
mean, that
I-
was a pretty forgettable one, except for Kofi winning it. And
Yeah, and
Oh,
I was
yeah.
I was
That was the one
pretty
Kofi one.
I was pretty hammered.
Oh, I was
Rey Mysterio got squashed by Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe destroyed him in like 40 seconds. Oh yeah, Cena was there. Him and The Rock, I think, had a segment. Hang on, let me control F this bad boy. This is making for great fucking podcasting.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Lino, or I forget, someone in the group posted that Nikki Bella's son watching WrestleMania and seeing John Cena propose to her.
Okay, so I found it. Elias, he had a little performance that he was doing,
that's right.
and then he was interrupted by a Babe Ruth video, and then John Cena came out in his Doctor of Thugonomics gear,
That's
wearing
right.
a Yankees jersey.
That explains why I completely forgot it.
Yeah. And it was weird that Elias didn't have a match, because I think Elias had turned face like a couple months prior, and then just quietly turned back into a heel.
Yeah, right.
So weird, man.
I just want
So-
John Cena to come back. That's such a weird thing to say after being sick and tired of him after a while.
No, like I was gonna say, U.S. champion John Cena is definitely my favorite John Cena.
Oh, yeah,
like
dude.
2015. That's by far, I think, the best
Yeah.
John Cena, because he really, I think, could lean into the fact that he was starting to transition to being part-time, so the crowd started to kind of like him a little bit more. I feel
Yeah.
like he didn't have to deal with the crowds like trying to always boo him or hijack his matches or anything like that. I think he would just have some fun matches, put some guys over. Then he'd go back to hanging out with Nikki Bella in his mansion and yelling at her about mixing the whites and the colors or something like that.
I remember
probably having some of
during
his best matches during that time.
Yeah.
during
Yeah,
Although
man.
match.
Kaz was very critical of on the show years ago of the Royal Rumble match with AJ.
AJ.
He felt like it was the same match as the ones previous.
Yeah, that did get a little old. I mean, it was just how do you top, how do you keep topping it?
Yeah, right.
The super F or F5s or whatever the hell he calls it.
Attitude adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little played out. The false finishes were too much.
Yeah. The matches in WWE, I think, did have that problem, and I think maybe still do have that problem. Not so much now, because I feel like the matches are structured a little bit differently, but there was a real serious kick out epidemic, I think people refer to it as, where people would get hit. It's WrestleMania, so they're going to get hit with one or two finishers, because the first one's not going to put them away, and that really became hard to watch. And then it was the thing with Cena. Kurt Angle is guilty of this as well, like the finisher move spam. Like Angle Slam is never going to beat anyone by itself. It's either got to be the super Angle Slam, or he's got to hit him with the super Angle Slam and they kick out. He's never going to beat them with the regular ankle lock. It's got to be the grapevine ankle lock he does like out of a
Yeah.
knee bar. It's never the regular one. And that did make the matches feel kind of stale sometimes, because well, it's not going to end yet. They have to do XYZ thing for it to be over. But those criticisms aside, I think Perc Angle and then like U.S. champion Cena are fantastic. Who are some of the other like golden era versions of wrestlers? I know Travis sent us Straight Edge Society CM Punk. He said that it was the best version of CM Punk. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I can get on that. I mean, Pipe Bomb CM Punk obviously set off a whole different era, but Straight Edge Society was just like the brutalization of guys throughout that time. Like, I think CM Punk was pulling some of his best matches at that point.
Yeah, I think he might have been maybe a better promo then. I mean, I know everyone loves like the Summer Punk and the whole 434-day title run, but I think like the Royal Rumble in Atlanta, where he's throwing guys out and then cutting a promo in between guys running out, like that's some top-notch stuff right there.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff that I really like to remember about Punk, like his like quick wit, and you know, that's how I first really heard of him. You know, on the indies and everything like that growing up, was him doing that whole straight edge character, and that really stopped being really a part of his character and who he was when he became like Nexus leader, pipe bomb Punk. So I kind of miss when he would do that. I think that might be my favorite version of him as well.
Yeah, you just hit the nail on the head. I mean, I was a big fan of his on the indies as well. But, you know, throughout his time in WWE, I'm like, oh, I want him to do like the heel straight edge gimmick. And then like when they finally did the straight edge society, that's when I was like, okay, I mean, I know that this guy can be a top talent, but now with this gimmick, like this is going to be what gets him over and gets him over the hump and makes people who maybe didn't know him that well before be like, okay, yeah, this can be a top guy.
Yeah. And, you know, it was one of those things where I was shocked that it took them so long to do that, because the straight edge thing, it was a part of his gimmick in ECW where he's like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, like, but he never really played it into his character. It was just like a dude who doesn't drink or smoke and he likes fucking MMA and arm triangle chokes people as a finish. Like he wasn't really incorporating it into who he was as a character. And I'm glad that they did that, because I think that really put him over the top and made him an even more dastardly heel, like saving people, making them shave their head because they're impure, and he doesn't have to shave his head because he's not impure, like that sort of thing. I always thought that was really cool. You know, I'm trying to think of just like some of the other great eras of wrestlers, like
There was also the mention of Bret Hart and his heel run.
oh yep, Canadian heel.
Canadian heel.
Yeah, that's some good character work right there, man.
Yeah,
His promos were fantastic, and they were fantastic in the sense that they weren't like bombastic, or he was saying a lot of over the top crazy shit like a lot of the other people were in that time period. Shawn Michaels is telling people to suck his dick. Stone Cold was telling people that he's going to open up cans of whoop ass. And then Bret Hart was just like, man, I miss when people were nice to me because I'm a good guy and I deserve to be treated with some respect. And the crowd would just go nuts. Like,
Except in Canada, though.
Yeah, Bret Hart was doing the boomer speak before it was cool, you know, like, oh man, if it wasn't for me, you guys wouldn't be here, and you should thank me for coming out here every night and breaking my back for all you ungrateful people here.
I know what the H stands for in your names. You're nothing but a...
John's also John's got a perfect Canadian accent, by the way, if nobody's like listening to that. Like, I'm just listening to John make the accent.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Paige, she gets a kick out of whenever she asks me a question and I'll answer it like a Canadian hockey player. You know, like I think that they're a better club. You know, I think that you know, they just got more pucks on net, and you know, we just got to work a little bit harder, but much respect to them. I think they're a great club. Like shit like that. Like I just
this is how we got to get over now.
That's right. Canadian people, their accent, I don't know what it is, but I fucking love it. It's tremendous.
Yeah, right?
I think an obvious one would be Shawn's second, you know, run.
Oh yeah.
The coming to Jesus.
Yeah,
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn, RVD's favorite Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Cyclops Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Oh, really? But really, it really was.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like his
as far as work rate goes.
Yeah, it was like his psychology was different. I think that maybe when he was a guy that everyone always rants and raves about from back in the 90s, that everyone loves, like 90s Shawn Michaels. They think he's like one of the best ever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that you know, a lot of it, I feel like his matches weren't that great because a lot of it was just like him bumping around for big guys, and he comes back and he super kicks him, and then that's that. With the second run, he was able to wrestle better workers, better wrestlers, and you know, he was Edge, Orton, Flair, Benoit, all these different guys, Christian, like a million different awesome wrestlers that he got a chance to work with, RVD, Triple H. And he really, I think, got to structure matches differently. Also, I think he was able to wrestle a little bit differently because he had back injuries and he was kind of a different person. He approached things differently. He didn't have to bump around like a pinball all the time, like he did when he was younger.
Yeah.
So I think the older leather pants Shawn Michaels, although he wore the regular tights too in the second run, but second coming of HBK is
Also, the string of Mania matches were, amazing.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, from let's see,
Who did he
Mania
start with? Jericho?
Jericho.
at 19, the triple threat at 20,
Yeah.
Angle at 21, Vince
Vince 22, which is still
22.
a decent match for
Yeah.
what it was.
For a Vince match, it's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
23 is Cena, right? 24 is Flair.
Yeah. And then
25 Taker, and then 26 Taker.
yeah. It's a fantastic run of matches.
Yeah.
Third run, not so good.
No.
Is that the one where he's laying there all bald and shit, looking like Bruce Willis?
Straight up telling you,
Shawn
like,
Michaels
this.
bald is weird as fuck.
He is not a man who was made to be bald.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Dude, it's so weird. It's so jarring. And then I think he's trying to grow his hair back because I was just watching on the WWE Performance Center YouTube channel. Kaz's boys, MSK, the Rascals. Kaz loves them. Ask him about them. He'll talk about them all day. They were doing a little backstage segment, and Shawn like dapped him up and was like, "Good job." And he had like this weird, like thin version of John Cena's hair, but his hairline started like in the middle of his head.
Oh man, I was like, was he doing like the Bruno Sammartino hair, like before Bruno finally shaved?
Oh man, it was.
Even worse than that.
I don't know what
That
was
sounds
going
even
on.
worse.
Let
That
me
sounds even worse.
pull it up on YouTube
Talking
because
about peak times, huh?
dude, I pulled this up for Paige and I took a screenshot of it and I was like, baby, what is going on with Shawn Michaels' hair? I'm like, is this real? Like, is this a real hairdo? So once I find it, I'll oh yeah, here we go. I think part of it too is the headset.
Oh yeah, making it look even weirder.
Can you guys see it right here?
Oh my
Holy-
gosh, it looks like he
No
gorilla
way.
glued sprayed his hair right there, man.
Yeah, because I mean, because Triple H has that headset, so I know part of it is the headset.
Yeah, that's
But
so
that-
weird looking.
Yeah, because that's definitely hair. I thought it was like a wave cap or something,
It's
but
like fucking Elvis.
It is like
Dude, that's so bad.
it
Fuck
looks like
Elvis.
spray paint to me, man.
It does. It looks like Brian Urlacher when he was first getting his hair back before he plugged it.
Yeah.
dude,
Wow.
those fucking Bryan Urlacher hair plug posters in Chicago are
Oh, I was just gonna say the Chicago posters. Yes.
oh my
Holy
god,
crap.
they're incredible.
Yeah,
It's like,
man.
Brian, man, you're fine, bald, dude. Like, why did you decide that you needed to have that hair back again,
Yeah,
man?
dude.
It looks like a bad toupee. Like he's just like, man, he should have just never cut it off. Should just let it go.
insane.
Man, it looks so weird. I mean, he looks weird bald, but he should have just stayed bald.
Yeah, at that point. Another one we haven't talked about, Cocaine King Macho.
Oh, Macho King Randy Savage,
Yeah, man.
1990 to, well, I guess, when did he become the Macho King? 89?
89,
90.
I thought. Yeah.
89.
Yeah, that's a fantastic run. I honestly, though, can't remember any of the matches besides the Warrior match at WrestleMania 7, but I just remember the promos and how insane he was with Sherry Martel.
Yeah, right. I think that's it, right? I think a lot of people remember him for the promos, even just in that era, like absolutely insane, and the dude, His relationship with Scary Sherry was also like just awkward. Watching it, like even to this day, like felt like watching my parents fighting. It was just like walking on eggshells watching Macho Man with Sherry. Like, oh God, what's happening here? I'm trying to escape into wrestling, not relive my life.
Oh my goodness.
Hulkamania isn't even a single grain of sand in the Sahara Desert that is Macho Madness.
That's right.
Dude, he used to cut some of the fucking wackiest promos, man.
Yeah,
Like
man.
I love his promos so much because they are just the most like coke fueled rampages you could possibly imagine. But his brother says that he wasn't a coke guy. He liked weed.
Yeah,
Which
right. Yeah. That's what.
I
Yeah,
can't
like
wrap my head around that.
he said. Lanny Poffo said too. Like that was the reason for his voice. He was like too much marijuana. I was
He
like,
has some
what?
really good sativas, man. He has some
Yeah,
really
I
good
guess so.
sativas.
Like Leslie Nielsen was like went up to him like, hey, someone better tell that Randy guy that he needs to stop pushing his voice. He's gonna lose it. And he's like, Leslie, my brother talks like that all the time because of marijuana. And I'm like, what? What?
Dude, that is so crazy that that's just how he sounded.
Yeah, right.
That's just how he talked. It was unbelievable. Let's see, who else did Travis send us?
Daniel Bryan, Team Hell No.
Team Hell No,
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like that's the start of it, right? Like that's when people are like, oh wow, this guy not only can he wrestle, but he actually has like he can actually be a character with it, you know. I mean, still to this day, Daniel Bryan promos aren't really the best, you know. So like it just seems when he's given a character, he does something so well. But when they're like, "Hey, be yourself," but kind of turn it up a little, and you're like, "Oh God!" Except for his heel run when he really turned it up and cranked it with the hippie stuff, you know. But before that, you know, it just seemed like, "Oh, hey, the separation between like the indie fanboys and like the WWE fans, you know, the indie guys liked him, but that's just kind of where he was. It's like, oh, this is the indie guy, you know, and he kind of broke that. He broke through that, and you know, it led to that great like fan takeover, you know, Daniel Bryan of the people thing, and so it definitely had some good moments from, you know, even when people still talk about it, like he and Kane and the skits, the segments that they had. So yeah, that was a good start to what eventually would lead to a memorable WrestleMania moment too, with Jag Thind. The sign talking.
We're not too far away from this, but NXT champ KO is also still like up there.
Oh
like
yeah, I did like that run too.
I forgot that he was an NXT champion.
Yeah.
NXT champ Kevin Owens when he came up and beat Cena clean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh yeah. He stomped on the US belt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was I kind of miss NXT KO right now.
Let's see who else. There's so many different versions of guys that are fantastic, and sometimes there's guys like they'll have multiple awesome versions of themselves, like
Yeah, right.
mid '90s Dean Malenko, like PWI Wrestler of the Year Dean Malenko,
Yeah.
is unbelievable, unfuckwittable when it comes to the in-ring ability. Having
right.
clinics with pretty much anyone they put in the ring with them. And then you even have like before that, like early '90s Dean Malenko, like tag teaming with his brother in Japan or teaming with
Yeah.
Benoit and ECW, just an absolute machine. Like you got guys like that are just, no matter where they are, they always find ways to excel and be really awesome. I will say though, for some people that we're seeing, I think maybe in their current form, like of skill, awesomeness, character, I think this is the best version of Roman Reigns. Like if we do this podcast 15 years from now,
Yeah.
I think we'll say this version of Roman is fantastic.
Definitely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Latino Heat Eddie.
Oh yeah, like WWE champion era Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, He was at the top of his game. And then again, he's another guy that you have like multiple versions of him that are awesome, like ECW Eddie. Eddie when he suddenly got super jacked and was the cruiserweight champion and feuding with Chavo and Ray in WCW.
Yeah.
I feel like the best version of Lashley was Impact champion Lashley, probably about 2016,
Oh
17.
yeah, not that long ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Although
agree with you.
I get, and Kaz might agree with this as well. I feel like they're slowly moving him back into that character because he's been fantastic as the U.S. champion.
Yeah, if they stick with how they're pushing him currently, this could be definitely his best run, I think.
Yeah, they've been building him up as a killing machine, and I hope that they finally give us the damn match with Brock.
Yeah,
I hope that
something in the back of my head thinks that's what it's building up to.
Like, could you imagine Brock tap into the Hurt Lock? That would be some wild shit.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
Oh, we got a run in.
Yep. Got another run in. We got 2 run-ins right
Oh,
now.
2 run-ins happening.
What
One,
of
2, 3.
what version of Chris Jericho would you guys say is his best?
Ooh.
Oh, that's yeah. I was thinking about that, Kaz. That before you mentioned that, I was like, what era do you put him in? I don't know. I wasn't watching at the time, but like I know a lot of people really like his No Country for Old Men Jericho.
I like Lion Tamer Jericho.
I liked like when he came back as Lion Tamer Jericho, like when he was doing his like baby face run later on in life, but it was all kind of a shtick. But like was No Country for Old Men Jericho the one where he beat the crap out of Roddy and Snuka and Steamboat? But
Yeah,
actually had
WrestleMania
the match with
25.
Steamboat? Because that was awesome. That was that was cool.
That was
too.
probably his best run because during that time, didn't he feud with Shawn?
That was
Yeah,
his best match that I think he's ever had.
Yeah,
yeah.
The
that feud
List
with
Jericho.
Shawn.
That was a good gimmick. The List Jericho.
That was good too, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of List Jericho. I think I started to kind of sour around on Jericho around that time period where I felt like he wasn't really doing it for me at that point. I feel like the last time I enjoyed Jericho was probably the match that he had with Kenny Omega. I feel like that's his last good match.
Oh, I would agree on
yeah,
that one.
Yeah, I agree
Man,
with you there.
he's a guy
Yeah.
who's had just so many different versions of himself. If you
Yeah,
think about
man,
it, it's kind
constantly.
of crazy.
Yeah.
First return from Fozzy Jericho.
Yeah.
Taker, he's had a million different versions of himself,
Yeah,
and
right.
people love all the different versions of whether it's the old school Taker with Paul Bearer, Ministry Taker, American Badass, like that weird hybrid version that we had like in his prime where he
Yeah,
was
right.
the zombie MMA instructor. Like he's
I
another
think
dude.
that was his best version when he
Oh,
came
for sure.
back at 20.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Because
Yeah.
I think it was like, okay, like I'm gonna combine, like I want to have good matches, but I also still want to have this character, so I'm just gonna
Mhm.
combine it. And he was in great shape, and he really had a tremendous run of probably 6 years, 7 years.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm. I'm trying to think. I think
NWO Goldust.
is that just before he got electrocuted?
Yeah, right around then when he was trying to be best friends with Booker T. and
Booker T?
was
Oh,
in the NWO.
man.
So
That was so funny. What was
some
it?
of the
He's
best
like,
promos.
I'll let you have a little bit of my Slurpee if I can get a bite of your wiener. At the 7-Eleven.
Freak out and be like, man, what the hell's wrong with you?
There's no Booker T cups. They must have sold out. Oh, man.
I was there's another person that I was just thinking of, like their best version. I just had it. My brother, he'll mark out for this if he listens to it. 1998, Rick Martel, TV champion Rick Martel.
Oh, man.
Hold that in high regard.
Nice.
talk about OG coming back and proving that he still had it. I think they could have did a lot more with Rick Bartel, but I think he ended up blowing out his knee, and that was kind of the end for him.
Yeah,
So
right.
he didn't really get the send off that he was probably looking for. But I think that was a version of Rick Martel that was really really fun to watch.
Hall of Pain, Mark Henry.
I can't believe it took us that long to bring that up. Like,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
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 Hall of Pain, Mark Henry. That was
I mean,
just putting
that's one of
matches
my
down.
favorite, bar none. Like, because that's kind of like at the tail end, right? With his John Cena like salmon jacket.
Ah, the salmon jacket. Still amazing.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite moments of recent history. Like, just everything about that. And that was that Grand Rapids that it was happened in Michigan, right? Like, it was the west side of the state, I think. And like everyone's like, "Oh, we love you, Mark Henry," with the signs. Oh, that was great, man. Yeah, he had a tremendous run with that one.
As much as I love sexual chocolate, Mark Henry, Hall of Pain. Mark Henry is.
You know, I have a soft spot in my heart for Nation of Domination Rock over like the main rock that everyone knows and loves, because I feel like I mean, obviously this is all in hindsight. When I was fucking 10-year-old kid, I loved all this crazy wacky shit the Rock used to say to people, like,
Yeah.
what in a sweet cream on an ice cream sandwich? I'd be like, tee. Like, now, of course, I'm like, that's such a fucking corny line. Like, who would say that? Like, what grown adult would say something like that? But I like, Nation of Domination Rock, because I felt like his trash talk, the shit that he would say, was still good, still witty, still funny, but it was a little bit more understated than what he had kind of would later go on to be known for. And I think that I think that that version of The Rock really obviously set the table for what he will become, but I still think that it's one of the better versions of himself. Definitely better than that weird, like, super bloated, like, 2013 version that tore his adductors or whatever.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Fat Rock.
He's rock.
Dude, he was so fucking big. He was so big, dude. He had to have been close to 300 pounds. He had to. You guys ever see his Hercules diet?
Oh
No.
God.
All right, I'll pull up the Rock's Hercules diet, because it was the most disgusting thing that I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's not his like 10 pounds of cod a day diet, right?
Whew.
I thought this was the
I think that was
protein
part of
pancakes
it.
one.
Yeah,
yeah, it's like some article, some headline said 4,500 fucking calories. All right, here we go. Meal 1, 10 ounces of filet mignon, 4 egg whites. Let me pull it up on the screen for you
this
guys.
is so crazy, man.
Meal 1.
Meal 1.
Like, one of the guys from like Vice tried to copy it. He's like, "I'm gonna eat like The Rock for a day," and like halfway through, he just threw up, and he was like, "I can't do it."
He does this every day.
No, this is because when he was Hercules, he was
Oh, okay.
enormous.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
22 weeks though.
What the get out of here, man.
I don't want-
I don't want to
Fitness.
be cut. Yeah.
Yeah. Way to shame me into being a fat fuck.
Yeah, seriously, man.
Meal 2, 8 ounces of chicken, 2 cups white rice, 1 cup broccoli. It like he does all these, or he was doing rather, 7 meals a day.
10 scrambled egg whites before bed with
All that protein, man.
30 grams of casein.
Dude probably has a 10-gallon toilet.
Dude, I was thinking that I would shit my brains out. I would be shitting my brains out. Like, and Kaz, I've watched Hercules with a girl I used to date a couple of years back. It is a terrible movie.
Yeah.
It is
man.
really, really bad. But dude, he was juiced out of his
Yeah.
fucking mind.
This is
Look
the
how
same
big
time.
he was.
Yeah, man. Didn't John Morrison did like a Hercules and they came out at the same time?
Yeah, like, come on, dude. Like, he
So gigantic, man. This is at the same, like, it's around the same time too with No Pain, No Gain or whatever, that one he did with Mark Wahlberg,
Yeah.
where he's just a gigantic beast, man.
Pain and Gain.
Yeah, Pain and Gain. That's a thank you. Yeah, look at him. He's just gigantic.
Fucking hell, man.
And he would sit up there and be like, "Oh, because of my good genetics,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I'm black and Samoan and I work really hard."
the
It's
juice
like,
and
dude, you have
Yeah, what
access
happened,
to unbelievable steroids, like steroids
Yeah,
I could
man.
not fathom. Like,
Didn't even know
Is
that
that
he
in meal
existed.
steroids that cost my yearly salary.
I can't believe that he would like say like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally natural."
Yeah. Well, that's still a big thing with Hollywood, right? Like just recently, all that coming out, like a lot of Hollywood actors being like, no, I don't take steroids. It's like, come on, bro.
My dude from fucking what is that? Silicon Valley? The whole structure of his jaw changed, dude. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? The Kamal something or other. Kamal
Oh.
Khalil.
Miller.
The best
Damn.
is still pre-Balco Barry Bonds and post-Balco Barry Bonds. Just
Oh.
like his head grew
His
like
head just, yeah, right.
7 sizes.
Here, I'll share my screen again because
Yeah,
this is out of control.
Because he does like with the movie with Dave Bautista,
Look at this.
Oh,
and then
Like,
he just
my
Yeah.
Come on, dude. Look at this. This is out of control.
bro, the amount of steroids you're on at that point, ridiculous.
Like these guys clearly do steroids. Like clearly. Like you can't tell me that this like 42-year-old dude is like listen, Michael B. Jordan, Black Panther.
Yeah, PEDs big time, right? Because that's where they go, no, I don't take steroids. And it's like, oh, okay, man. All right, you don't take steroids, you take PEDs. All right, dude. You know what I'm talking about.
Like the only dude I would
Like,
trust
look at
not
this.
the only dude I would trust not taking like steroids is like Edward Norton, because the dude is always just like a couple
Small,
steps away
skinny.
from being ripped because he's just so skinny all the
Yeah,
damn
right.
time. So like if he honestly just goes to the gym, he ends up being shredded because he doesn't have any body fat to begin with.
Michael B. Jordan was pretty skinny in Fruitvale Station, but still, I mean, that's just a ridiculous transformation.
Yeah, right.
The most obvious is Christian Bale from the
Ooh.
Machinist.
Penis,
Oh,
Yeah.
Machinist
God.
to
To
Batman.
being 230 pounds of muscle for Batman to the
Yeah,
point where
right.
he was so. Oh, go ahead, Cass.
Oh, go ahead.
He was so big in the bat suit that they fucking had to like stop production and have him lose some weight because he
Yeah.
couldn't move in the bat suit. He was so massive. He looked like Triple H when Triple H came back in like 2002, and he was like just
Yeah, man.
unbelievably ripped with the fucking denim jacket. Like
Yeah.
Christian Bale got massive.
Didn't
That's-
he play Dick Cheney?
Yeah,
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He
he
did
did.
Batman,
Dick
then
Cheney,
Dick
too.
Cheney. Got fat as shit.
Yeah,
man.
he also was fat in The Big Short, and not The Big Short. What was the movie he did with a couple of years ago? That was a financial movie. I forget.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Yeah.
The Big Short.
Yeah, he was
It
in
might
the
have
Big
been The Big
Short.
Short. Okay, yeah, then The Big
Mhm.
Short, he got fat in that. But I was also thinking about when we were talking about post first quad tear Triple H, like coming back.
Ooh,
2000.
Oh
2002.
yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I would say my favorite version of Triple H is probably like 2000, 2001 Triple H. Like I feel like that was like one of his better runs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty solid there. I would have ranked when he was WWE champion, like his final championship run. If they would have had him run with that a little bit longer, I would have fucked with that heavy. But they did basically I joke with Kaz and call it the Shao Kahn run from Mortal Kombat. I think that would have ranked pretty high for me too.
man, just the amount of gas that these dudes have access to.
Dude, I
What's your favorite Scott Steiner peak?
ooh, like 92, 92,
Yeah, man.
93 Scotty Steiner.
U of M
Scotty's-
varsity
dude,
jacket,
yeah.
Scott
Yeah, man.
Steiner,
Oh, man.
Math Steiner.
So, do you guys, real quick before we wrap this up, do you guys see my brother's comment about Doug Furness? How he was like a better version of Scott Steiner?
Yes,
What do
yeah.
you think about that? Is that just a fucking super hot
Holy
take?
shit, man. Like,
Doug Furness was good, man.
yeah, man. That drop kick, I'm still obsessed with it. That drop kick was amazing. Dude's just like standing there, and then all of a sudden he's 10 feet in the air, like nothing.
That's years of deadlifts and maybe allegedly, possibly a little bit of diesel fuel running through his veins.
It's like an Alex Riley drop kick. Like just Riley would. This is like when Riley was in matches, I was always like, all right, we're gonna see the most picture perfect drop kick of him just scaling like no gravity, nothing, just top of the dude, just from nothing. I was like, if Alex Riley had a better repertoire,
Riley.
yeah, his drop kick was amazing.
that was the only thing that was amazing.
Yeah,
about
that's the only
him.
thing that was amazing.
What's your favorite version of him?
NXT Alex.
NXT Alex
Glow,
Riley.
Glow Wrestling on Netflix. That's my favorite version, season 1.
Oh man.
All he had was that drop kick, and it was picture perfect.
Oh shit. I found a video from 5 years ago. Alex Riley versus Bull Dempsey. Holy shit.
Really?
Oh, really?
Oh,
Damn.
gosh.
I haven't even Bull Dempsey. Wow.
Was
Yeah,
that from like Bull's like that was his last bit in NXT, right?
Yeah. He was wearing a robe, so I can't tell if he was Bull or
yeah.
they're I remember how much I used to fucking hate Bull Dempsey.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I used to hate Elias too, dude. I used to call him that drifter guy.
That's right. That drifter guy.
At least Elias got to grow on you.
Yeah, Elias did get to grow on me. Alex Riley had a sweet theme song though. Great body. He looked great.
Yeah, dude, he looked great. Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, right.
Didn't he have like a
shit
good
matches.
run at the end there when he like grew his hair out a little?
They were like trying.
Psycho Alex Riley.
Yeah, rage, push rage.
Yeah, push rage.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, they tried so hard to give him one final.
Sorry, that's what I called my creative wrestler. I'll never forget that, dude. I'll never forget that.
Dude.
I felt so bad for him. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, get the fucking shovels, bro. Fuck.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. Anything that you guys want to say in closing? Anything you want to plug? T-shirts, merch, fucking OnlyFans account. What do you got?
I'm so hungry after this episode. All I can think about is food right now. After all the food talk.
Yeah, you're going on that rock diet, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, the amount of halibut just is like, you're talking like halibut's not a cheap fish either. Like it's a decently priced fish. Like that much of it? Come on. Like
Oh,
mercury? You gotta worry about
one
the
of the highest
mercury
paid.
poisoning?
Yeah, right.
Bro, you think he's fucking worried about mercury
Yeah.
poisoning with all the shit that he has floating in his veins?
Uh,
the fuck
Probably
outta
just
here.
killed it.
Oh man. All right. Well, thanks, boys. Thank you for listening. And when Alex Riley hits you with his picturesque drop kick, what should you do, Lino?
Tuck your chin, brother.
Fucking Alex Riley.